Good afternoon, everybody. Uneducated Economist here. So I thought I'd give you guys another one of those lumber update videos. Now, for those of you who follow my channel, you would know that I follow lumber and building supplies as kind of an indicator of where we are in the new construction market, where we are in the economy in general. And lumber has been a really interesting ride over the last couple of years. And just in the last, since April, last, 3-4 months, we have seen lumber prices go from around 265, 270 per thousand, and to Friday when they closed at 587. They've more than doubled since April. Lumber prices are skyrocketing right now. And if you've been following my channel for any length of time, this really isn't new information. You know that I have said it in the past that we are going to have higher lumber prices. And I was not expecting to see the lumber prices go this high, this fast. I mean, we are really on the move, and especially in the retail price of things. And for the next month, I think we're going to continue to see demand pick up, inventories to continue to be tight, and the prices to ever increase. And I don't know how high they're going to go, but I feel that they are going to go higher from here. Now, to kind of give you a little bit of a backstory, if you're new to my channel, we have been following lumber for quite some time. And I was reporting on mill closures that were taking place up in Canada. And it's kind of a long story, but what basically had taken place is that during 2017, Canada was pumping out a lot of lumber into the United States. We were buying a lot of lumber coming from Canada. In turn, we were selling a lot of logs to China. So we were cutting a lot, sending it over to China, and in turn buying Canadian lumber. Then the trade wars start kicking in. Canada got hit with kind of a double, almost triple whammy when it comes to their lumber industry, especially in the British Columbia area, because what they had they had a forestry issue, a forest management issue, where they had this bug go up there and create this infestation, killing off a bunch of the trees up there. And so they went into harvest mode because they were like, okay, well, these trees are dead, they're going to rot, or we can cut them and mill them up now and at least get some money off of it. So they went into salvage mode. At the same time, we were buying a lot of lumber coming out of Canada. So the prices were at like $650 per thousand. This is when all the prices were at their highs. So it was a really good deal for Canada. But then all the trade wars started kicking in. Their forestry management were out of the salvage mode, where they were no longer allowing them to cut all these dead trees that had been killed off by this beetle infestation. So they had what they refer to as stump prices go up, and these mills were in a bad position. Not only were they paying more for the logs, they were getting less in revenue because of the lumber future prices dropping, and they were hit with a tariff coming from the United States. So the Canadian mills just suffered big time from it. In turn, the United States quit buying a lot of this lumber, was also in a bad position because China quit buying a lot of logs from us. So it killed our timber industry here. And even today, I was talking with my buddy who's been logging since we were in high school together. This is the only thing he's ever done. He said this is the slowest, and it's still the slowest he has ever seen it. Now, on the flip side of that, I have another buddy who has recently reached out and contacted me through email, letting me know that he works down at the local mill here, and he said that they are pumping out lumber as fast as they can make it. They're in full swing right now. So that's kind of an interesting kind of separate stories. You know, the logging buddy of mine who's saying that it's the slowest that he's ever experienced it, while the other buddy who works at the mill saying that they are just pumping out as much lumber as they can produce, which kind of makes a lot of sense considering how big the demand is and the prices that they're getting for it. So what happened with the logging industry is, at least as far as I can tell from it, is that because we are not exporting a lot of logs to China, the cutting of trees has diminished quite a bit. Okay? Now, that's just kind of a bit of a backstory on what's taken place. During the lockdown, a lot of these lumber mills were like, okay, well, people are going to be locked down. They're not going to be working. We have a shutdown of the economy, essentially. We are not going to be producing and sitting on a bunch of inventory. So they curtailed development. They're like, we're not producing a bunch of lumber that we're just going to end up sitting on. At the same time, when people got locked down, they're sitting at home bored with a stimulus check saying, you know what, I want to improve my surroundings around me. So they started building decks and fences and gazebos, and they started just going crazy down there at the lumber yard, buying up a bunch of lumber, doing a bunch of raised garden beds and whatnot. And they started buying up a lot of lumber, a lot of it, and they wiped out the inventories. And so here, during a time when they thought that the inventory levels were going to be too high and that there was going to be no demand, there was a surge in demand and a dropping of inventory all at the same time. And the prices have skyrocketed on account of this. Now here we are in the building industry, or at least in the building season for the industry is what I should say, and the supply is diminished dramatically. It is getting very hard to source out a lot of lumber, especially the pressure treated lumber. Now for the next week, we're going to see where the future prices are going to go, because they have been nothing but climbing for the last month, and especially since April. Now I get a email once a week that kind of gives us an idea of where we are in the lumber industry across the nation, and it talks a lot about the mills, and it talks about supply, it talks about different types of plywood and lumber. And what's interesting is that all the different components of this email all have the same thing to say. Inventory is 30 to 45 days out. Mills are bidding 4 weeks out, meaning that you put an order in today, you're not going to see it until August 24th, somewhere between 4 to 8 weeks, 30 to 45 days, 3 to 5 weeks. All these mills are pretty much saying that if you are not sitting on your inventory right now for the month of August, you're going to be, at least to cover you for the month of August, you're going to run out of material because there's no place to get it. And it's really starting to show itself in the retail prices. Now, I like to track two things: 2x4 8 standard and better, and 1/2 inch 5-ply CDX. That's the skeleton. The 2x4s are the skeleton of the building. The 1/2 inch CDX is like the skin that goes on the outside before all the doors, windows, siding, stuff like that goes in. 1/2 inch CDX last week was at $28 a sheet. That blew me away. I had never seen 1/2 inch CDX selling for $28. When it hit $26.50 a few years ago, I thought that was really high. And I thought, man, these are not sustainable prices. Now, obviously prices go up throughout time, right? I mean, it's just, inflation is just the way it goes. But $18 to $22 is what you would typically expect to pay for a 1/2 inch CDX 5-ply sheet of plywood. Right now, we are selling 1/2 inch CDX for $31.60 a sheet. $31.50 a sheet. Oh my gosh. With inventories tight, and for the next month not have anybody who's going to be able to sell you an inventory amount to stock your yard. You're 45 days out, 30 days out. And it sells for $31.60 a sheet. This is insane, guys. We are going to see plywood prices and lumber future prices skyrocket over the next month. I'm sure of it. As the demand inside of this building season continues, and the inventories are incredibly light no matter where you look, prices are going to have no other choice but to climb. Listen to this. Listen to what he said here. Let me see if I can find it real quick. The few mills that are quoting here he goes. The few mills that are quoting continue to push prices up with very little resistance. Let me see here. Here we go. Mills frequently quoted as much as $75 over print price. I'm not sure what that means. I guess over the spot future price. 75 per thousand over, but there seemed to be no price that would deter buyers from buying. See, these guys, they need the material. They need the material no matter what the price is in order to build this house, because when it comes to the framing portion of an entire house, it's like a fifth of the cost, if I remember right. It's not like, and that's probably in an extreme manner. For the most part, the framing of the house is not the most expensive part of the house. In fact, it's like almost one of the insignificant portions of the house when you consider the grand scheme of things, the entire house and the property and the permits and the labor and everything else that goes with it. And so if it's $26 a sheet or $31 or $38 a sheet, you're going to pay the price, whatever it is. So I guess I'll leave it at that. Uneducated Economist, you guys let me know. And I want to apologize to you guys again for all these commercials that are coming up on my videos. If something changed inside of the YouTube settings or something, I'm going to have to go in on my laptop or something and figure out what it is that I have to do to cut these commercials out, because somebody was telling me the other day that they got like 7 commercials on one of my videos. That is not what I want to do to you guys. I am not here to annoy you. Like one commercial is enough. That's all I'm really asking for as far as monetization goes. So I apologize to you guys. That's not me that did that. That was YouTube, and I'm going to go and try and fix that today. So, Uneducated Economist, you guys let me know.